What's going on, YouTube fam, and welcome back to another video. And today we're going to be talking about how to travel safely around Latin America, and this is part 2. Now, I did a part 1 on this channel some months ago, and I was looking through my notes and I was looking through my video ideas, and I'm like, I should finally put out the part 2 because I think these are important points when you're traveling in Latin America, and I think everybody should take heed to some of these basic things that'll keep you safe and you have a pleasant experience as well. Now, these are for generally around Latin America. Of course, every country, some countries are safer than others. Some countries, other have more problems, but this is just general advice depending on where you are in the region, whether it be Central America, Mexico, South America, in a Latin American country, okay? Or even in the Dominican Republic, Puerto Rico, any of those places that are considered part of Latin America, all right? So we're gonna break down 5 more things, because the first video I had 5 things as well, of ways that you can be safe in Latin America. So let's start with number 1. And number 1 is taxi scams. Now, if you've traveled if you traveled extensively around Latin America, you may have heard about these scams, may have been, I don't want to say victim, but you may have been involved in one of these, where one example is a taxi driver will tell you, oh, okay, well, this is the price and you pay me this much. And then you get to your destination and they give you a price that's way higher, 3 times higher, 4 times higher, depending on how they want to take advantage of you. So you think, okay, well, I got into this taxi, everything seemed legit, looks like an official one, but a lot of these people masquerade as real licensed taxi drivers. So they go through these little loopholes to make them look legit, and then they try to scam people. So just be careful with that, because sometimes I've heard of situations in Mexico City and other places where they'll try to do some express kidnapping. They'll have somebody else that'll coerce you to take you to an ATM and get money out and things like that. So if you're going to take a taxi, and whether you're in Lima, Peru, Bogota, Colombia, Mexico City, just be careful. And the best way is to take licensed taxi. So for example, if you see a taxi stand, an official taxi service, go there. That is 100% legit. If you arrive at the airport and they have an official taxi stand in the airports, you can prepay in many places. It's safe, it's trustworthy. And these are for those of you who prefer taxis over rideshare apps like Uber. So, not saying that happens every single place in Latin America, but some bigger cities, this will happen. They'll try to take advantage of you, especially if you really look like a foreigner and your Spanish is not good, or Portuguese if you're in Brazil is not very good. Now, like I said, it's not super common, but it does happen. So I always recommend just going with Uber, or any other rideshare app. Here in Mexico, we have DD as well, which is pretty good. But if that's not your thing, you're not into it, you prefer traditional taxi, always go either ones where you can call and get a taxi sent, or ones that are official taxi stands, like the ones you see at airports, or the ones you see in certain parts of the city. So definitely be vigilant about that, because it does happen and it's very easy to avoid. Now in Mexico City, for example, you can see a lot of taxis around the city. They're pink and white. Now those are official taxis, but even the Mexico City residents, the Chilangos, prefer not to use those. Some do, but most people will get an official one from a taxi stand or take an Uber if they need a car. So that's the first thing. Beware of taxi scams. Don't become a victim of that, because it's so easy to avoid. So let's get into the second. Okay, number 2, when in need, ask for help. Listen, Latin America is a very, how can I say this? The countries within Latin America have a very strong culture, and people are very friendly and very willing to help you. So if you feel that you're lost, or if you feel you need help, getting somewhere or doing something or trying to figure something out, and you're kind of confused, ask somebody on the street. Say, hey, excuse me, I'm trying to do this or do that. Would you be able to point me in the right direction? Most of the time, people will be more than happy to help you. It's a cultural thing. They'll be more than happy to help you if you're lost or whatever the situation may be. Just be polite, ask the person, explain your situation. And most of the time, whether you're in Mexico, Nicaragua, Panama, Colombia, people are going to be pretty friendly and they'll do their best. I even had police officers help me when I was in Uruguay. I just got to Uruguay, to Montevideo, and I was kind of lost to find my hostel. And I asked this one lady on the street, she was super nice, told me to go straight down this avenue. And then I was still a little lost, so I asked these 2 young police officers. They were super friendly. They joked around with me a little bit and pointed me in the right direction. Same in Colombia. I was a little bit lost trying to find my hostel in Colombia when I was there. and the police were super cool, had a conversation with them, and they were able to help. So even the police will be willing to help you as well. And, don't be afraid to ask. If you're in need of help, because, in some cultures, in some places, it could be apprehensive. People are just like, well, I don't know, you're probably asking me for money or something. Get away from me, And, coming from New York City, I know how that is because you have a lot of people, beggars and stuff like that on the street. But in Latin America, generally, people are more laid back, and it's, help you, whether you're a tourist, whether you're, you live there, whatever the situation may be. If you need help, just ask. Just, be polite and ask, and you'll be surprised of how hospitable people are. So don't afraid to do so if you need assistance. So let's get into number 3. So this third one would be a little bit controversial, but not so much. And it is be careful when using dating apps. Now, it's very easy to be safe and meet people on dating apps. I've done it many times, never had any problems, never been robbed or anything like that. But there are things happening throughout Latin America where guys are just going crazy. Oh my God, I want to see this pretty girl, and oh my God, and just totally lose their guard and end up victims of robbing, scams, or what have you. So in Colombia, as we know, there's been a lot of things happening with this substance called scopolamine that leaves people, how can I say this? It alters your state of mind, and people are robbed and taken advantage of. And this happens a lot when you have a lot of these foreigners going to Colombia, meeting Colombian women on Tinder, for example. Now, Tinder, we all know, is used to hook up. I mean, I know people that have had relationships from there, but it's, more of a casual thing. Now, in Colombia specifically, it's not really a hookup culture. So these are, these girls are on there to scam you. That's basically what it is. And they'll have either other guys working with them to find out where you live and rob you blind. And now what happens is that if you see, let's say you do use one of these, right? And the girl is so consistent on, let's go to your place. Let's just do something simple, have a couple drinks at your place, or always insisting, then something's not right. Okay, then you just don't even follow through with that because they're trying their best to get back to where you are to see what they can steal from you and put stuff in your drink and take your valuables. So don't fall for that. And even for you ladies out there, I mean, if a guy's so persistent and just wants you to come to his house, or what he's, proposing to you as a date seems shady, just cut him off. Don't even go through with it because you never know what their intentions are. Always meet in a public place. And this can be in any country in the world, whether you're in Norway, Taiwan, Japan, meet in a public place. Go for a drink, go for a coffee, whatever it is, see how the vibes, trying to get that sense of trust in the person, because there's a lot of people out here that unfortunately want to do harm to you, and, this happens a lot in Colombia. It's been happening in other places as well in Latin America. So just be careful when you're using dating apps. If, they're perfectly safe to use if you use them right. So if you want to meet someone, meet in a public place, feel them out, see if they are trustworthy, and don't rush into doing anything or going to anybody's house until you get that trust and you can see that they're really interested in getting to know you and hanging out with you and not trying to take advantage of you, okay? So that's number 3. Let's get to number 4. Okay, so for all you seasoned travelers out there, you've probably heard this phrase or something along the lines of this, and it is, if you are lost, act like you know where you're going. Why do I say this? Because imagine you thought, you had Google Maps or something, and you say, okay, well, I know where I'm going. I remember the route. And let's say, for example, where you are, you don't have internet connection on your phone, right? For an example. And you really can't access it. So you walk and you're like in a sketchy area and it starts to feel unsafe. You want to look like you know where you're going. Don't look nervous. Don't look around like, you're scared. Why? Because that makes you stand out and look like a target, okay? They're going to look at you and say, this person looks nervous. Oh, well, let's go, confront them. Maybe it's a gang of people. Maybe it's a couple people. But if you look like you know where you're going, you look confident and you're walking, you're not paying attention to what everybody else is doing. You're just minding your business, being aware, of course, but minding your business. 9 times out of 10, people are not going to bother you. Now, I can't say that, that's going to be universal. And there's some places that are just dangerous, and, if people have bad intentions, they have bad intentions. But this definitely does help. If you are lost somewhere, just be confident, act like you know where you're going. Don't look like you're lost. Maintain your calm. Try to retrace your steps back from where you came from, or get to a place where there aren't people around where you can kind of get your head together. That will definitely help you out if you find yourself in an unsavory part of any city in Latin America. And that could be anywhere in the world, Asia, Africa, United States, wherever, okay? So, but we're talking about Latin America. So if you're in, I don't know, in Lima, Peru, or Rio de Janeiro, Brazil, and you kind of wander off into an area that looks sketchy, just keep your wits about you. Don't panic, even if it feels dangerous. Act like you know what you're doing and get out of there as soon as you can, okay? That can be a life-saving tip, and it can save you from getting robbed if you have these characters out there that are trying to take advantage of you. So always remember, if you're lost, act like you know where you're going, even if you don't, all right? So let's get into number 5, the last thing. So this last point should go without saying, but I'm going to say it anyway. When you are traveling throughout Latin America, no matter what country you are, no matter how safe it may be, do not consume illegal substances. I have to keep it YouTube friendly, but all you out there know what I mean. Do not consume illegal substances, and I'm going to tell you why. There's a few reasons why. One, you could be getting it from just any old Joe Schmo, and you don't know what's inside of it. If it's lethal, it could kill you. If it's chemically induced. I mean, that you just don't know. So you don't know the person. Some person on the street, they want to, sell you some of these substances. Next thing you know, you're in the hospital or hopefully not dead, because it does happen. So, I know some of you out there who want to, enjoy those things and party. You're going to do it no matter what. And I'm not condoning it, but if you do it, be safe about it, okay? I mean, I recommend you don't do it, period. But be safe about it. Just don't go on any Joe Schmo on the street. You don't know what's going on. Maybe if you know somebody that knows somebody you have a trustworthy, if you're determined to do it that way. Don't do it at all. But, like I said, some of you out there may want to do it. Not necessarily the audience, but some people out there. So be safe about it. The second reason is you don't want to get caught with illegal substances in another country and thrown into the jail, because, you're a foreigner. Remember, even if you are a resident of this country but your passport is from Canada or from the UK or from the US, you are still not a citizen. So certain things are not going to fly. Now, this can cause you to get deported. That's one thing. Serious trouble with the law, paying a bunch of fines, and never being able to go to that country again. And, some places do not take kindly to foreigners consuming these illegal things. So you don't want to get caught up in that situation, have legal problems, be in any kind of jail anywhere, really. And, it's just not worth it, okay? So don't look for them. Don't consume them. If you're going to do it anyway, try to do it from someone that's trustworthy that you may know. But I recommend just don't do it. Just have a beer or something. If you don't like beer, I don't know, drink a coffee. But these things, and I've heard stories, I know people who've been in these situations, did not work out well for them. And you don't want to be one of those people, let's say you're visiting a country, you get caught with something illegal, and then you have a whole boatload of problems, all right? And also, you want to be sharp. You want to remain on point. Let's say you consume something and you're like kind of loopy out of your mind. You don't know what you're doing. You're wandering around. You're lost. You're going to get taken advantage of. Some people, bad people out there, let's face it. And they're going to see you all loopy and crazy and, rob you, do whatever that they may do, because they know that you are not fully present. So you don't want to be like that. You want to enjoy your experience. You want to go there, have fun, enjoy yourself, and not have to deal with those negative repercussions of consuming illegal substances, okay? So don't do it. I recommend you don't do it. If you're going to do it safely, but my recommendation is don't even mess with it, all right? So that is number 5 for this part 2 of how to travel safely around Latin America. I hope you found this video useful and entertaining as well. Thank you all the subscribers out there and all you who just stopping by and taking a look. Appreciate you all, your views, your likes, everything. If not, if you haven't done it yet, hit that like button, subscribe. More content coming soon. I'm your guide to Latin America. I hope all you out there have a great rest of your weekend, because today is Sunday. I'm putting this on a Sunday. And I will see you soon. Stay safe out there. Peace, y'all.